What nutritional epidemiology tries to do is it tries to look for dietary causes of some of these diseases, and we are moving away from sort of infectious diseases but to chronic diseases. So it's really looking for causes of dietary causes of these chronic illnesses like heart disease, like cancer, to see if we could get a handle on some of the factors that we can actually control, because we can control our diets and whether that could possibly affect our risk of disease. Everybody's familiar with calories, right? Calories are the way we assess how much is the energy content of food. How much calories are in per gram of a food? It's sort of like a index of trying to figure out how calorie dense a food is, if that makes sense to you. There's a term we use to describe that, that's called energy density. So we found that over this 30-year span, the foods which Americans are consuming are far more energy dense, and that sort of tracks with our increasing body weight, because if you track the prevalence of increasing body weight in this country, you find that increasing energy density of food sort of tracks with that. None of the other factors we looked at, eating patterns, such as, for example, frequency of eating or you know, how much we're eating in the evening, they haven't changed much, and they don't track. People who have a healthier body weight, they tend to eat breakfast. They're breakfast reporters. So that's one thing we have found. Second thing we have found is that not only is breakfast reporting important, also the kind of breakfast that's reported. For example, especially the concept that I was talking about earlier, the energy density of the breakfast, as to whether it is how many calories per gram of foods that you consume does it have, that seemed to also be lower energy density in individuals who had healthier body weight. Energy density is driven by basically the water content of the food. So with that in mind, now let's look at the foods we typically consume for breakfast. If we, for example, a breakfast of fruit and cereal and milk would be a lower energy density breakfast. A breakfast of an egg, a biscuit, I'm thinking of the bagel with cream cheese, for example, and an egg or a sausage would be a heavier, higher energy density breakfast. So it's the water content of food which sort of drives that. It's the energy density of solids which drives how much we eat. So it seems like we tend to control volume rather than, you know, it's the calories. We're not monitoring that. So in other words, when people eat higher energy density foods, they tend to eat more.